You don't have to put it on, so I can just, I'll just waffle away then. So today we're going to be pricking out some chilies and tomato plants, potting them on into a larger container. This is a variety of chili called Longhorn that was set a couple of months ago now in February. So they're ready for moving on into fresh compost. They've got their true leaves now. So what I'm going to do is just knock them out of the pot. And the easiest way to do it is just to support the compost with your fingers. Turn the pot upside down and just gently tip it out. And then you can see you've got roots forming in the bottom of the pot, so they're ready for moving on into a larger pot, individual pot. And the pots I'm going to use today are these recycled yogurt pots. All I've done is just cut the top off, just to make it easier to stand them in a tray. And they're sort of the perfect size, really. We can use a sort of a 3-inch pot, but just for these, because they're quite small plants, we're just going to use a small yogurt pot just to recycle it. I have put some drainage holes in the bottom, so I'm going to use good peat-free compost, and then all I'm going to do is just break the clump apart. They've had a watering early this morning, so it's a couple of hours ago, just so that the compost holds together, holds its shape. And as you can see, you've got roots coming out of the compost there and at the bottom. So I'm just going to prise those two apart, try and keep as much compost on there as we can. And again, you can see the roots there. So what I'm going to do is just set this at the same height or the same depth as it was in the original pot. Gently firm it in, give it a label so you know what they are. I'm only labelling it because we've got different types of chilies, so I want to know which is which, basically. So that's one. And just making sure that your plant is going to be at the same depth in the pot as it was in its original container. So I found a pebble there, get rid of that. Just gently, don't need to firm them in too much, because you want the roots to be able to move freely through the compost, but you need to get all the air out of the compost as well. So again, last two, and we've not really disturbed those plants at all, which is good. So they should grow away nicely now. And what we're actually going to do, we're going to treat these with a product called Foundation, which encourages root growth and stimulates the plant into putting on more leaf growth as well. And it's good for chilies, tomatoes, some flowers like dahlias, etc., which we've used in the past. So it's just one level scoop, and all you do is just sprinkle it around the top of the compost in the pot, and that helps to feed the plant and encourage it into growth. And you give this 3 times at 4 weekly intervals. So week 1, then 4 weeks time another dose, then in 8 weeks time the third and final dose, and that should set the plant up to be healthy and strong. And all we do with that is just water it in. You need to water the plant anyway, once you've pricked it out of its original pot. They should grow away nicely now. Pop them back into the greenhouse. The tray itself has got drainage holes in, so the water will drain away. You don't want them sat in water. As I say, pop those back into the greenhouse. Make sure you don't let any frost get at them. So if you need to cover this is a cold greenhouse that we use, so we just cover it over with fleece at night if we know there's going to be a frost. And I tend to check the weather forecast every couple of hours anyway, because it can change. So we're now going to look at tomato plants, and this is quite a good example of how you can get different plants in the same pot. So we've got these San Marzano tomatoes, and as you can see, we've got 2 quite nice sturdy stocky plants there, and 2 what we call leggy plants. They've been drawn by the sun, so that means they've just gone towards the sun. A lot of people worry about that. With tomatoes it's not such a problem because you can plant tomatoes quite deeply because they will root from the stem. You just need to make sure you don't damage the stem at all. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, I'm not going to use the yogurt pots this time. I'm going to use 3-inch pots because I want to plant them a little bit deeper. So even the plants that are quite sturdy and stocky, I will plant those a little bit deeper than they actually are in this pot. And that again stimulates the growth from the roots. So same process as before as with the chilies. Just find where you can put your fingers without damaging the stems. Turn your plant pot over and you can see you've got the same thing. You've got roots showing down the side and in the bottom. So I'm just going to turn those back over and stand it up. So you've still got your solid mass of compost. So I popped a little bit of compost in the bottom of the pot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the two sturdy tomato plants first. I'm just gently breaking them apart, and again you can see the roots coming through. Try not to touch the roots if at all possible. And I'm going to plant these slightly deeper than they were in the original container, gently filling in around the plant. And then once you filled the pot, just gently firm it in. You don't need to do any more than that. A lot of plants will want to be set or transplanted to the same depth as they've germinated at. Yeah. So just be careful what you're doing. You can plant a lot of seedlings a little bit deeper if you've got seedlings that are a bit leggy. I've got some cosmos here, and some of these you can see they've got slightly longer stems than others. These you can probably just put in 1/2 inch deeper than they actually are, and it won't hurt them, but it'll just make them a bit stockier. Yeah. So we're going to look at these two tomato plants now, these two San Marzano that are fairly leggy. As you can see how they've been drawn towards the light. They've been exactly the same position as the other plants, but obviously they were further away from the window. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of compost in the bottom of the pot, drop the plant in, and as you can see it's dropped down quite a bit into the pot, but that's a good thing. So what I'm going to do now is fill the pot back up.
You can actually see the little, on the stem, the little hairs, can't
you? Yeah, they have like little hairs, and each that's where all the roots have come from. They're the same family as the potato plant, and obviously your berry potatoes, and they root from the stems as well. So these ones that were leggy, they're also going a bit green on, a bit yellow on the leaf, and that's a sign that there's some nutrient deficiency. So they were ready for potting on anyway. Oh, okay. So as you can see, that's the one that was a sturdy plant in my left hand, yeah. And that's the one that was the really leggy one, which was at least twice the height. Yeah. And you can see I brought them sort of to a similar height now. Yeah. And again, when you pot them on next time, you can bury it a bit deeper again, so you can level it all up. So we're going to give these some foundation as well. That should set those up to be nice, sturdy tomato plants.